Hi guys, welcome back to Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books. One book, but it was really long. Like, it was 732 pages, so that could be like 2 books, you know. It is RPG lit, so, you know, fantasy, sci-fi, progression lit. It is The Butcher's Masquerade Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 5 by Matt Dinniman. So this is 5 stars. Okay, yes, this book was 732 pages and it was published 2022. It was a long book, but the time just whizzed by. Like, it was insane. I remember talking to my sister earlier in the week and I was like, oh, you know, I really want to read this book, but it's so big and I'm having like trouble getting up the urge or like the energy to open it up and read it, you know. But then, you know, once I cracked that open, the pages flew by. Like, they flew by. So we're with Carl. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, RPG lit or progression lit is a lot like a video game. A lot of people compare it to a video game. Personally, I compare it to tabletop RPG games like Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, Kids on Bikes, is Dingo, what is it? Is it Goblins Ate My Baby? Kobolds Ate My Baby. So you could tell I play a lot of tabletop RPG lit. That's what it mostly reminds me of. If you're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that, then yeah, very close to a video game. So Carl, love Carl. Basically, when he went out in the middle of the night to get his ex-girlfriend's cat out of the tree, the world flattened. And it turns out the Earth he was on is a seed planet, and the multiple alien corporations do a Coliseum like Hunger Games-esque tournament for fun. It's really grotesque and oddly unsettling because I'm like, ooh, are we really that far from this, you know? So Carl and Princess Donut, who's his ex-girlfriend's cat, enter the dungeon and they get level ups and power ups and add stats to strength, charisma, things like that, to help them survive in this dungeon Coliseum horrible game that they're forced to be a part of. And Donut gets a pet biscuit in the first box that gives her a human-like brain, right? So here she is, this little Persian, like, was it tortoise shell Persian, I think, cat, show cat. So not only is she a cat, but she's a show cat, can speak and, you know, has human speech and, yeah. So it is, like I said before, my friend called it horrifying and hilarious. And that is actually how the best to describe it. It is horrifying and hilarious. The whole dungeon is run by an AI that's losing their shit. Like, it is interesting to watch. We're in Carl's POV the whole time, but what I really like about this is that even though we're in Carl's POV, we have no idea what's coming. Like we have no idea the crazy, insane plans Carl does until we're like in the middle of him doing them, and we're like, oh, that's what, oh, this is something stupid. You promised one of your companions you weren't going to do something stupid. This is pretty stupid. And it's really enjoyable. I like that we don't know what Carl's going to do, the plans he puts in place until he does it, because it gives a little bit of suspense, right? And poor Carl, poor Donut, they go through it. Now I have 18 levels, I believe. And no one's gotten past level 13 in all the years that they've been doing this game. And Carl and Princess Donut have been getting fan base because it's a live stream. So they get favorites, reviews, it's kind of like subscribers, I guess, and sponsor boxes. And because of this, they get pulled onto talk shows. And in this book, Carl gets dragged to a convention, the CrawlCon, and he has to judge a kid's art contest, and then sign autographs, and then he's on a panel. Also, level 6 is where hunters are. So level 6 is where people from the outside universe can pay to come in and hunt crawlers, which is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And Carl is a very nice person. And as the books go by, you know, he has a mantra: you're not going to break me, I'm going to break you, you know, in regards to the game. And I freaking hope so. Because, like, he gets a little more violent and darker as the books progress. But, like, it would be weird if he didn't. He would come off like some weird Mary Sue if he didn't. If he was still like sunshines and roses and morals, that would have been weird. And this book, especially I think because it's not just NPCs that are trying to kill them or AI generated monsters, it is people from the outside that are coming in to hunt his people for sport. So he is definitely darker in this book, and I could understand it. Like, who wouldn't? And he does some villainous monologues a couple times, but his goal, it seemed like his goal is to, again, destroy the dungeon, right? Destroy the dungeons. And I can't help but really root for him. And the thing is, this is my first foray into RPG lit, so I don't know how these tend to go. I don't know if the series tend to end when the hero has like a heroic death, or they complete their goals, or they just kind of fade off and never get finished. I don't know. And like, I'm really worried for Carl. Like, I want Carl and Princess Donut to survive. My favorite character is their pet Mongo. That's just me. I know people love Princess Donut, and I think, like, I liked her, and I found her entertaining because she acts like a cat that has a person brain. Like, that's how I feel like that's how cats would be. Like, she like treats Carl like a servant. You know, it's pretty funny. I mean, she is a sweetie too, you know. And there are moments where like Carl like uses his body as a shield to protect her. It's so cute. Like, yeah, because she's your little kitty. She's your little cat. You have to protect her, you know. She's a really impressive magic user, but she doesn't really have any constitution or like a lot of hit points, if you get what I mean. It's hard to explain this without giving spoilers, or if people don't know like game vernacular, but I think so, right? We've all played a video game in our lives, you know? We all watched or played a Dungeons and Dragons game. I think it's pretty explanatory. She picks a class as Bard this level, and she can't sing, so that's interesting. That's a pretty fun moment. On top of the Crawl and the Hunters, the convention and the Hunters, there is at the end the Butcher's Masquerade, because the elite, or because as this dungeon is going, there are other like scripted live action shows with NPCs that they kind of take over, that are running simultaneously through the dungeon. They're called elites, and their guide Mordecai was like, don't get involved, blah, blah, blah. The producers could easily write your death to help their show. Like, but Carl, of course, gets sucked in. So he has to deal with an elite storyline. We get lawyers in this, which is, I don't know, what I love so much is that I never know where this book is going, right? I never like, oh, this character's in it, oh, it's probably going to end that way. Nope, completely wrong. I thought they were going to zag right. He decided to do a spiral curve to the northeast. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay. So, and I really love that I never know where this is going, right? Especially what happens with level 7. That, who saw that coming? And that was a surprise. And in this world, we kind of get that not only is the dungeon effed up, but the universe is really effed up. And I'm like, well, of course, because they're happily dehumanizing these people and watching them slaughter each other for fun. So I didn't think it was a good place. Like, I didn't think everything was hunky-dory anyway. But what is incredible is during the convention, you get a lore, I wouldn't say lore dump, but you get lore of the outer world, like how or why the dungeon started. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. We get this important lore that I've been curious about for 5 books from a random ass character that just showed up and is an antagonist in a random ass moment in a random ass scene. Oh, god damn, this book, I love it. Like, I was like, this is so great. So, and when the convention, you kind of get how big the universe is and how many species there are, you know? And there's one like mantis, like, it's called the Dark Hive, and the top hunter is from the Dark Hive, and the person that gives you the universal lore of why the dungeon even started, why the crawl started, is the mother of the huntress in level 6. And Carl's like, I'm gonna fucking kill her, because Carl already killed a member of that family, so that Carl makes friends and enemies wherever he goes, right? And I'm like reading this book and I'm like, Carl must have like natural joie de vivre, you know, he must have like that thing, that just natural magnetism that some people just have, you know, because his stats, he doesn't have a lot of charisma. Like Princess Donut can hypnotize anybody, right? Huge amount of charisma, right? But Carl, like, no, you know, he's more of a, like a melee, like a physical fighter, right? So it's not like he could charm people, right? But like, dang, like every book there seems to be like someone new that roots for him and like gives him tiny little not supposed to but here's a hint, and people who like want his head on a pike. Like, there's no in between. There's no in between. And man, there's no in between. And I kind of like, because when he's in the convention, he's muted and no one could see him because it's just because he's somewhere else and they're just projecting his hologram in the convention because he can't leave the dungeon, you know what I mean? So the other people in the panel, one is a designer of some of the buildings in the game. One is an older crawl winner, and they're having this conversation that obviously is for Carl to give him hints, but they're acting like they're not. They're just having a conversation with each other, even though as if they don't know that invisible Carl is sitting between them to give him like helpful little hints. And even someone who has to share, because when they go on a show or the convention, they go to a separate like spaceship shuttle kind of a thing, and their presence is just hologrammed, you know, on the show or on the convention. Like, it's just a hologram of them, right? So he had to use an already in use shuttle for whatever reason, and that person left a little something for him under the, you know, on the sly. Even the guards are like, you know, you have 5 minutes, if we turn around you'll grab, you know. So it's, I'm like, it's interesting, you know, it's interesting that he has this kind of, he's got to have this kind of magnetism, or people are rooting for him. Maybe that's it, because like most of this world seems like there is no middle class. It seems like either you're poor or you're part of the elite, right? We haven't really seen a lot of middle class. So I don't think the poor are really happy with the elite, and they're spending billions on the stupid crawl when they're like starving and barely make it through the years, you know? So you get a lot of that. And a lot of the hunters are forced into this hunt because of poverty. So you kind of feel for them, but at the same time, you know, they're killing people for fun. So it's such a weird kind of moment. Even me, who is so very bloodthirsty, I'm like, oh man, like I get Carl had to this person, but like I kind of feel a little bit bad. Dang this book, dang it, for making me feel things. And there's one moment in the middle-ish of the book where I got verklempt. I don't wanna, my eyes watered, nothing. I didn't cry, but I was so close. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it had to do with a sunrise and just someone having to watch their mother die and not being able to help them. And like, it just, oh God, it killed me. I was like, dang this book. And in the last book, there was hints of Carl's ex-girlfriend and Donut's owner re-entering the storyline. And I thought it was going to go one way, right? Nope, that's what I meant. Like, I thought it was going to go to the left. Nope, corkscrew, northeast, 30 degrees, let's go. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a possibility, but here we are. So that was interesting. And I think this is the book where people are really fall in love with Donut, because I hear so much like, oh, protect Princess Donut at all costs, Princess Donut. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I like her, but like, I kind of want to protect Carl at all costs personally, but okay. But I think this book really like got me to really understand why people love Donut, and like, oh yeah, Donut's wonderful. I love Donut. Yeah, I get it. I love her too. Still hope Carl survives at all cost. But Donut is wonderful, and I hope they both survive, because this game is designed, apparently when you go far enough, the game tries to break up teams and things like that, like cause betrayals and stuff. So it's weird. And Carl, because of an earlier lawsuit him and the AI were involved in, Carl now has real universe money. Not a lot, but like, it's interesting. And he gets a lawyer from out there, and it's a race that we would like associate like the Roswell Gray aliens. They're not treated very well. They're called nulls, and they're not treated very well. So it's interesting to see all this like classism and stuff going on the outer universe, because I'm fascinated. We got some interesting lore about the primal race, and the primal race is the race Carl chose, and I wasn't sure why, because it didn't seem like it was giving him anything. But oh, that is so like, the primal race seems to be the race that existed before all these other races, but like maybe died out or something. I'm not sure, but like, I am loving it, and I can't believe I blab this much for one book, but here we are. Well, again, it's like over 700 pages. I feel like that's like 2 books in one, but I loved it. The third act conflict, it goes right up to the end of the page. That's what this author does. It goes right up to the last page, and the epilogue is long, but read it, because it's setting up some like horrible choices that are gonna have to be made in later dungeons, later levels. And I'm just like, ugh. And I'm like, okay, I can't get attached to anyone but Carl and Donut and like Mongo, because it's too late. I'm already attached to the 3 of those, and who knows what's gonna happen, because I don't read this. This is my first time reading this genre, so who knows? I'm hoping they'll get a happily ever after or something, and I hope Carl's plan to just destroy everything works. Like, okay, it's book 5, and I'm having a blast. There hasn't been one of the books that I didn't enjoy. I think the lowest rating I've given these was like 4 stars. Like, I'm having so much fun. So if you like video games or Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're just like in the mood for something a little different, I would suggest giving it a try, because it is funny, it is different, and it is fast-paced, and it just kind of puts you in a different kind of reading world. And sometimes when you're having a slump, that's what you need. You know what I mean? That's what you need. So 5 stars. I'm having so much fun. Again, I'm pacing myself like every 2 weeks I'll pick it up again, because I know how I am. If I read them all in one go like I wanted to, I would get sick of it really fast. So, and I don't want to get sick of it. So, I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.